WUSA 9 Weather Watch Alert is sponsored by Morgan & Morgan.
Our first winter storm of the season is bearing down on the area right now. This is a live look right now at radar as the mix of rain, snow and ice moves in. The impacts you feel today, it's all going to depend on where you are exactly. Take a look at this. These are live pictures right now from Western Maryland. You can see the snow on the camera starting to fall there. Long story short, a great day to stay inside if you can. Maybe curl up by the fire, grab a good book. We've got you covered here. Good morning and thanks so much for streaming with us on WUSA 9 Plus. I'm Marcella Robertson. Let's get right to meteorologist Jonathan Myers breaking down the timeline of DC's most accurate forecast. Jonathan, good morning. It's not the massive snowstorm we were all hoping for, but anytime we're seeing rain, ice, snow mixed in, it's definitely something to talk about.
Yeah, and Marcella, you know, some folks, they want the snow. Their kids want the snow. I know my kids want the snow. They want to play in the stuff. Other folks say, I could do without, especially on a Saturday when I have to, you know, maybe do some travels to kids' sports games or maybe head back to the mall, do some holiday returns or whatever it may be. But either way, an impactful system is coming at us right now. And you see here kind of, we won't call it the DC snow hole, as us meteorologists like to call this particularly, because it really hasn't moved in all that much to our east just yet. It's not a full hole, if you will, but there is dry air that's been trying to intrude from the north and east and kind of hammering back on the start time a little bit. I think it's going to be between about, say, now and 11 a.m. that we start to see this stuff moving in, which may help to preclude, as temperatures rise a little bit, even more of the wintry mix. But nonetheless, you do see some of the green near La Plata, Fredericksburg, down to Newland in Virginia, Ladysmith. There is a bit of light rain and drizzle that's trying to break out, maybe mixed in with a few sleet pellets and snowflakes. The bigger stuff is down to the south and west. I keep calling it stuff here because it's not just snow. It's not just rain. It's kind of a mixture of everything. There's snow, there's rain, the snow in bluish white, the rain in the green, the icing in that kind of pinkish purple that continues to envelop southern and western portions of the area right now. And that will continue to override everybody as we head through the late morning and into the early afternoon. And this is why we are under the weather watch alert. Right now, for the most part, things have not started just yet, but there could be a stray flurry or sleet pellet or rain shower all the way through 10, 11 o'clock this morning. And then it really is going to be getting going during the second half probably of that time frame. About, I'd say a coating, maybe up to about a couple inches of wet, sloppy snow in the area in white, especially west of the DC Beltway, west of I-95. Leesburg, Gaithersburg area, that's where you stand the best chance of getting maybe an inch or two through the lunchtime hours. I think the biggest risk of accumulating snow is going to be north and west, though, of Leesburg into western Loudoun County, up into about Frederick. These areas in that lighter blue, that's a 2 to 4 inch snowfall. Potentially could even be as high as about 4 to 6 plus inches. Hagerstown, Martinsburg, Winchester westbound, and also northern portions of Frederick County. Now, on top of that, also very, very hazardous is ice, and potentially we could add some of that in the changeover with some temperatures right close to the freezing mark. Places like Front Royal, Luray, Orange, into Charlottesville, Staunton as you get way south and west. That's where we'll have some of the highest ice totals. But even in northern Virginia, like Winchester, extreme northern Virginia, Martinsburg, right there on the West Virginia line up toward Hagerstown, some minute, just a few hundredths of an inch ice accumulation type totals. But I think that when you have even just a few hundredths of an inch of ice, roads can get very slick and slippery. So if you do have ice that is falling outside your window, probably going to want to stay inside through the duration of that. Later in the afternoon, I think most folks will be changing terrain after about 2, 3 o'clock. But we still have the winter weather advisories in the area in purple. That's somewhat lesser and actually probably greatly lesser amounts of snow and ice. But you get into the white, Frederick, Martinsburg, as well as Winchester, down to about Front Royal, Luray, Harrisonburg, up to Frederick, Westminster. This is where we're going to have the higher amounts of snow and ice, and that's where winter storm warnings are in effect through today. Now, the regional impacts will break everything down for you as we, again, push through about 9:30, 10 o'clock, 11 o'clock this morning. That's when we see that mixture develop here in D.C. This computer model saying by about 10 o'clock, we could already have some of this stuff moving in. I would say probably 10 to 11 is going to be your best bet now in the district to get the few flakes, a couple of sleet pellets, and some rain that will turn heavy at times into this afternoon. Into areas of Metro DC north and west, that's where we're going to see that potential of a brief burst of snow, and that will then quickly change over to sleet and then mainly rain. And then north and west of that, as you get north and west really of Leesburg and north and west of Montgomery County into Frederick County, Winchester, Martinsburg, that's where we have mainly snow. There could be some sleet, some freezing rain, but again, it primarily will be kind of a heavy, wet, sloppy snow that falls there. So taking a look now at our graph computer model. This is our high resolution computer model. The blues, the pinks, that's your mix. By about 10:30, 11 o'clock, starting to move into DC, that drier air is filling in. Temperatures may bobble down a little bit when this stuff starts due to what we call evaporational cooling. In other words, that rain falls into the dry air. That's kind of precluding the precipitation at this point for the time being. But it falls into that dry air and it evaporates. So what that means is you don't necessarily see a whole lot coming down, or you see a very little amount of precipitation coming down, but the air temperatures begin cooling in that evaporational process initially. So that'll take your temperatures maybe from, say, 36, 37 back down to about 32. And that's where things get a little sneaky when it comes into some of that wet snowfall and some of the potentially slick spots that could develop, especially right along that mix-over line. Eventually, the changeover to rain for most, though, I think by about 2:30 p.m. You see all the yellows and the oranges and the greens. Temperature is going to be chilly, but above freezing here in D.C. By about 4 o'clock, Frederick up to Hagerstown, Martinsburg, and Winchester. Still in that pink-blue zone, some snow, some ice potentially out that way. Everybody else is rain. And by about, say, 7, 8 o'clock tonight, this stuff's out of here and quickly moving up toward New Jersey as well as Pennsylvania. Notice the air temperatures are gradually responding to it getting later in the morning, and they're in the mid to upper 30s. We're well above freezing now over at Reagan. 37 degrees, 35 at Manassas, Fredericksburg, where that kind of rain, sleet, snow combo is nearby. Again, they've kind of been capped at about 33 with 34 at Culpeper, 32 at Harrisonburg. These areas in blue are solidly at or below freezing, and that's where we're going to have the biggest issues with snow coming down. And some of these spotty areas in blue, that's where we have temperatures that are at least isolated near or below freezing. And that's where we potentially can have those temperatures bobble with a little bit of an accumulation, at least briefly, as this stuff starts. And then we should probably run it all off with a bunch of rain that's going to be sliding in and taking everything over into the late morning, early afternoon. And there's the rain, Raleigh northbound up into the Tidewater of Virginia, the mixture in what we almost call kind of a wedge pattern. You can see this wedge, if you will, that moves all the way down the eastern sides of the Appalachians. And that will continue, again, to fill in more so and more so with rain as warmer air with our storm track tries to take over. I think the biggest deal here in D.C., though, today will be the rain that comes down out of this. There could be anywhere up to about a ½ inch to an inch of rain, so we could see a lot of ponding on our roadways. So keep that in mind. Anywhere up to and shortly over an inch of rain across the area is what our computer models are putting out. So a weather watch alert continues for today. Rain mixed with snow, sleet, freezing rain, potentially, especially the farther north and west again, and especially through about lunchtime. After that, changing gradually over to rain. A breezy day for the Commanders on Sunday. Things really clearing out, so it's going to be a much better day for the game. So at least a relief there for the final game of the season. And then sunshine back with a high 47 Monday, and another weather maker could come in by Tuesday, Wednesday, but this one looks like it will be primarily rain. Marcella?
All right, thanks, Jonathan. And we are putting out a call to our WSN9 weather watchers to help us monitor the storm, kind of help us tell the full picture here. You can join the team by scanning this QR code. It's on your screen right now. Just point your phone's camera at the screen, click on the link that appears. Then whether you see snow or rain today, please share your photos and videos with us. It's easy to share your pictures and videos with us, of course. Just open up the WSN9 app, tap on Near Me on the bottom right. We also have a button at the top of our homepage where you can easily upload straight from your camera roll. You can also tag WUSA9 on social. And we are keeping a close eye on the roads as you start your Saturday. Conditions likely deteriorate as the storm moves in. This is video we took earlier this week as VDOT crews got ready for the storm. Our Mary Marshall is live in Eco 9 tracking real-time conditions for us. But first, we do want to start with Lindsay Nance, a look at the overall picture this morning. Lindsay, in the immediate D.C. area, it doesn't look too bad right now, but we know that can change pretty quickly around here.
That's right, Marcella. Live look on the roadways closer into D.C. Just as she said, we're in great shape right now around the Beltway and even surrounding interstates. We do have a little bit of precipitation in some areas. Here's one of them. This is a live look at Route 15 as you're heading towards I-70 in Frederick. But right now it looks like just rain. I know Maryland transportation crews have been hard at work for the past 2 days treating all of these roadways with that salt brine, and the same goes for Virginia. So here's a wide view of what I'm following for you right now. Traffic volume is light, but if you do have to run any errands, I would go ahead and try and get it done if you are waking up in or around the district, because not a lot of people out there on the roadways, and we are still dry right now, at least in the immediate DC area. A different story if we head west a little bit. We do have some precipitation building up along the I-81 corridor, even a few closures there around Warrenton, Culpeper, Harrisonburg. We do have some of that snow starting to build up, but again, VDOT crews are up and at it this morning, currently treating all of those roadways again after they did the exact same thing for the past few days. Here's our one closure we have around Shenandoah in Woodstock. That's Route 758 closed down at Mine Road due to ice already on the roadway. Really cold temperatures out there, so if it does look like you could see some ice on the roadway, don't try and drive across that. Just take it slow and try and stick to those primary routes. If you are heading from I-66 right now, just about 20 minutes on your commute. 34 minutes coming in from Fredericksburg. We do have some rain trying to come through 95 in that area and well south of that. And on the Beltway to the Capitol Bridge, or to the bridge, we're in good shape. Just 9 minutes on that morning commute towards 395.
All right, Lindsay, thank you. Let's get out to Mary Marshall in Eco 9. And Mary, we know you've been tracking the road conditions for us all morning. Right now, I understand you're in Spotsylvania County, Route 3. How are things looking out there?
Right now, where we are, the roads are dry. We were in Fredericksburg earlier, and there were damp roads there because of the light showers that we saw. Here's what it looks like. Route 3 West, very beautiful neighborhood out here for everyone who lives here. Your neighborhood is just beautiful. Not much happening weather-wise here, but that's not going to be the case throughout all of the day. Now, we're heading to Culpeper because we know that we've got some precipitation starting in parts of Culpeper. I want to show you what that is like and how that could impact your running errands or doing what you have to do this morning. So here is Route 3 right now. We're continuing to head west on it. Now, in the Culpeper area, again, we know that there is some rain and snow beginning to try to form in parts of that region. I can tell you just by looking at the VDOT reports all morning long where this particular storm system has been, it has caused some light icing on the roads. There's no such thing as light and icing when it comes to me. I don't like ice on the road anywhere. Ice should be in your glass. It's a good place for it, or in your freezer, not on the roads. And it takes a little bit of slick spots to get the ice going. Now, we'll say this, while we are talking about this precipitation, if it hasn't started in your neighborhood, you may want to wait until after the first 10 minutes before the precipitation starts to begin to move out. So let's say at 10 a.m. it starts in your neighborhood and you need to run an errand and you realize it's at 10 a.m. Maybe you want to wait until 10:10 or 10:30 to do it. That's because as soon as that rain and snow starts on the road, it starts to mix in with the oil, and that's the slickest time to be out there on the road when it first starts off. So do you want to be careful of that? But I will say, as we've been driving around all morning, these crews have really been on top of treating the road so that if any flakes fall, they will quickly melt as they begin to hit this pavement that has been treated, because we know that salt can raise the freezing temperature so it doesn't freeze right at 32 degrees. So that is a good thing. The roads are treated. Of course, when it really starts to come down and get slushy, you may want to stay out of the way of those plow trucks, and we have seen a lot of them just lined up. They were on 95 and 495 all morning long as we we've been tracking this because we've been out here since the 6 a.m. hour, and we've seen them just ready and waiting for everything to fall, and they are there to take care of it. So for the most part, everybody's out and about. There seems to be adhering to the speed limit, and let's hope that everyone continues to take precautions as they are out later on today. So that is what we are looking at here on Route 3. We've just come to a red light now, and we're just continuing to track what's happening around the region. So what we'll do is continue to show you what will be happening in Culpeper, where as that begins to come in, conditions could quickly get a little bit more dicey as it comes down, especially with some colder temperatures. So that is another thing to consider. As I mentioned before, when this was around the Richmond area earlier, I saw reports of light patchy ice, and so that can certainly cause some problems. But right now, if you do have an errand to run and you're in Spotsylvania, Fredericksburg, you've got some showers, but this is the time to get it done. You don't want to wait, obviously, until things really begin to come down. So the earlier you can get out and sort of beat the rain, beat the snow, beat the mix, that's going to be a better time for you. But yeah, so far so good. Traffic is flowing smoothly along the roads. They are dry right now, and people that we have observed have so far been driving rather cautiously or adhering to speed limits. Good thing. Let's hope it stays that way once the precipitation starts to come down. But reporting live here in Eco 9. Continue to be on Route 3 heading west. We're going to come back to you. Actually, we're starting to get some spots on the windshield now, just a few little drops. Not much, it's just like literally barely a drop, not enough to worry, but we're starting to see that. It's probably harder for you to see, but I can see it on the windshield. So a sign that it's taking its time, but it is most assuredly on the way. We'll send it back to the studio now.
All right, Mary, we appreciate that update out of Spotsylvania County, and good news there. Obviously, it looks like a lot of people are staying off the roads, and that this also falls on a weekend. All right, at 9:16 right now, we have been talking about this storm for days, helping to make sure you're prepared for whatever comes your way. Abby Larico joins us live now from Frederick, Maryland. Over at road crews, they're already hard at work. Abby, earlier this morning, we saw the big tractors. They were getting the salt from that salt dome, and we know that's going to be spread out in the roads as soon as stuff starts falling. Good morning.
Hey, Marcella, good morning to you. Yeah, within the past 30 minutes or so, I'd say we've really started to sense all of the elements of that first early sign of winter weather here. Talking about precipitation, it's definitely slowed up in the past few minutes, but we started seeing some of that sleet. It was kind of like a dry, frozen rain that's already kind of starting to quiet a little bit. But what hasn't quieted are the trucks. We've got the front loader here. We've had several. At one point, there was a short line of the snowplow trucks with the big bins in the back ready to put down salt as they make their way around the area once it's time for that. And you can also see some of this treatment already on area roadways. Some of these fresh stripes hit the highways and side roads starting Friday afternoon, in fact, as road crews work to get ahead of this winter weather. You've got salt, but you've also got this salt brine. That's a mixture of salt and water that's been allowed to dry, then leaving behind a film that keeps the snow and ice from bonding to the roadway. The goal is to make it more of a slush that's easier for plows to then come through and clear, toppling with a little bit of that salt afterward if necessary. Maryland highway authorities tell us it's a good thing the weather front is coming in on a Saturday without the heavy rush hour traffic to deal with, but they say it could still create tricky conditions throughout the weekend.
Once the storm moves out, anything that remains wet has the potential to refreeze. So we're going to keep cruising until the pavement is absolutely dry.
It's been a while, okay, since we've seen accumulating snow in the area, since many of us have had to drive through these tricky, slippery conditions. So we're going to tell you time and time again here, do not forget, give yourself a little bit of extra time. Give yourself extra space between you and the cars around you, especially if it's one of these big road servicing vehicles with plows in front of them. Their visibility is reduced, so you want to make sure you give them plenty of space to do their job. And Marcella, I will tell you, I've talked to a couple of these guys off camera here this morning who they say they are ready to do their job. They're excited. They're hoping to see a little something to keep them busy throughout the day, whether it's been months since they've run their routes or they've practiced in the past couple days, or they're just on standby somewhere around the area waiting for it. They say they're ready. Back to you.
I love to hear it, Abby. We appreciate that update, and always a good reminder there. Keep your distance. Let them do their job because they will be out there as soon as that snow starts falling. Thank you so much. And don't forget to download the free WSN9 weather app. Simply point your phone's camera at the QR code on your screen right now. You can also search WUSA9 in your app store. That way you can get DC's most accurate forecast wherever you go. All right, we want to get one more check of the forecast with meteorologist Jonathan Myers. You have been tracking this for days now, and really it just kind of depends on where everyone is, because you're going to get a little bit of something.
That's right, Marcel. We've really been tracking this since the new year. So it's been several days, and now finally the weather maker is moving in. And I'm noticing now a quick development of some what appears to be rain, snow, sleet that is right around the area of the district, inside the Beltway, Prince George's County, Montgomery County, Georgetown, Howard University. That was blank last sweep of the radar. Now it has some snow reported over it. We'll have to see what actually makes it to the ground. And of course, if you have any reports, you can send them to me on social media, or of course, you can also post to our Weather Watchers page, our WSA9 Weather Watchers page. Join that, and you can post any pictures that you may have down toward Bailey's Crossroads. Along the Virginia border, we've got some ice, potentially some sleet in the mix. That's the pink. And then around Reagan National Airport, 695, 295, there is primarily rain that is reported in that area right now. Let's go ahead and take a look down to the south and west, and around Culpeper, Warrenton. There's a bunch of snow, sleet, freezing rain, a little bit of rain on the eastern edge right along State Route 17, but potentially this could be a big travel problem. I know we've already had some road closures way south down this way into the Shenandoah Valley of Virginia. Down around Charlottesville, there's some rain on 29, but again, some ice and snow reported if you have travels down that way. I know folks may have their kids' school sports going on, school sports competitions today, or maybe just heading to the mall to do some returns after the holiday season. And you can actually see that it's mainly rain that's coming in toward northern eastern Virginia around Marshall's Corner, La Plata, Faulkner, Potomac Shores, Hilltop. Those all, again, mainly a rain that we're seeing right now. I want to zoom in, though, out to the west, up toward Leesburg. This is where potentially you may be dealing with, as you head west on 66, a more solid snow that could be coming in. Reston, Deanwood, Potomac Falls, starting to see some of the pink building in right along the area of Dulles. I'll have to check on some of those observations and see what we're getting, because it looks like probably around here, around 15, into Leithtown, North Fork, and Middleburg, rather, on 50, as you're getting west into northern Virginia. Kind of this patch of snow, sleet, freezing rain, and maybe even a little bit of rain in the mix there as well. That is probably what is reaching the ground. And even here in D.C., I think we're going to start seeing some of the sprinkles increase more so into kind of a more solid rain. And already the district is kind of covered. So this is something that is quickly developing now, and I think by about 10, 11 o'clock, we are going to be fully in this. Around the Beltway, areas on 95 East, it's primarily just rain. Although, as you get into D.C. and move north to westbound through the district, Georgetown, say, as you head up toward maybe even Silver Spring, north side of the Beltway, there could be a brief bout of some snow in the mix there, maybe some sleet. There could even be a coating on a couple of the car tops, car windshields, grassy surfaces, but I really think it's in this white area that we get more of that sloppy coating, including Gaithersburg as well as Leesburg. There could be up to an inch or two around Leesburg, and stacking up 2 to 4 inches, the area in blue. That includes Frederick as well as down toward Luray and Harrisonburg, 4 to 6 inches north and west of there. So that's more of a slam dunk type of actual pure snowstorm, if you will. And south and west, and actually even west now, it appears there will be a brief bout of icing that occurs, maybe a little bit more extensive. Luray southbound, where you see some of these valley locales really furrow in some of that cold air. They could get anywhere up to about a 1/4 inch of ice. That could equate to power outages in the area of maybe Orange as well as Stanton. But Front Royal, around Winchester, Martinsburg, Hagerstown, those 100th to 10th inch amounts of icing, that even could be problematic for travels into the early afternoon. That's why we have the winter storm warnings that continue north and west of the advisories, which are around Leesburg as well as Gaithersburg, Manassas, Culpeper, just north and west of D.C. and primarily I-95. So let's talk about some of the potential impacts that we're going to see. Again, through about the 10, 11 o'clock hour, quickly developing now, we are going to have the snow, ice, rain situation across the district, but really east of 95, it's mainly just primarily rain. District north and westbound, there will be some snow and sleet mixed with the rain, and then it changes mostly to rain after about a half hour, and that could become heavy at times. And through shortly after lunchtime, places like Leesburg, as well as maybe even Gaithersburg, you could be dealing with a little bit of sleet and snow in the mix with the rain, but it's going to primarily turn wet through lunchtime. North and west of that, though, Lovettsville, Frederick, Martinsburg, Winchester, Strasburg, that is going to be primarily snow, and that's where we could stack up some of those bigger totals in that area. So again, starting to see the rain, the snow, the sleet that really is beginning to get into the mix here with the rain that's south of all of that. So eventually most of us do change over to rain. This is our system in its entirety as it spirals its way up the Appalachians, eventually reforming along the coast and moving up as a nor'easter towards New England. And that's where the big snow totals are going to be with this. And actually, again, kind of looping all the way down toward Martinsburg, Hagerstown, and Cumberland as well. Now, again, by 10 a.m., most of us starting to see precipitation coming down, either rain south and east, a mixture to rain here in the district, and then snow and wintry mix north and west. Notice that temperature profile by about 12:30 p.m. Here in the district, we are well safely above freezing. It will be near or maybe even just at freezing north and west, Gaithersburg, Leesburg, north and west. So that's where potentially the road problems could get a little more numerous, and things will get more sloppy. The temperatures, again, continue to recover, but only in the 30s to near 40s. It's not going to be a pretty day. There could be some very heavy rain all the way through 3, 4 o'clock in the afternoon. Still hanging on to some snow and ice potential out toward Hagerstown, Martinsburg. Even that will likely end or change to rain by about 5:30, 6 o'clock. Here in D.C., may take till 6 or 7 till this all ends, which winds will switch northwesterly, and that will finally dry us out. Temperature profile, again, is looking like mainly above freezing along, around, and east of I-95. Even Leesburg, you're just slimly above freezing at 34 degrees. The area in gray is where we're not going to be expecting quite as much in terms of any ice or snow accumulation. Now, there will be some exceptions here as we have some cooling that occurs as the rain falls. The atmosphere kind of tries to evaporate some of that, at least at initial impact. And as that occurs, we will see a cooling process. So that's how we get our snow and ice around here usually. Temperatures do start above freezing, and then as this kind of rains or snows into the atmosphere at the very onset, you cool those temperatures down. But we're not going to hold that cold air in, so it'll be a brief period, and then those temperatures will recover. The exceptions will be up here around Frederick, Front Royal, points north and west where that colder air is deeper. The storm track is more favorable to keep those folks at a snow, sleet, ice type of combo. Now, I think the biggest threat is going to be rain here in D.C. You see up to about a half-inch of rain potentially. Our computer model output is on either side of about an inch of rain, so we could have some ponding on the roadways as we work through the day today. So even if you do have to head out as things become more wet than anything else this afternoon, you got to take it slow and be aware there will be some hydroplaning issues, maybe even some localized flooding, especially the farther south and east you get, especially into southern Maryland potentially, where those rainfall totals are forecast to be the heaviest, especially the eastern shore as well. For the Commanders game, tomorrow, final game of the season, much better weather with high temperatures getting into the 40s. It will be a little bit blustery with the winds about 10 to 15 miles an hour, but temperatures will recover to well above freezing, and it looks like another system could come with rain, maybe some snow and ice well northwest for Tuesday into Wednesday of next week.
All right, Jonathan, thank you. All right, at 9:28, let's take a look at this picture. Darlene, one of our weather watchers, just posted to our Facebook group. She said a little bit of snow here. You can see a nice little coating on the grass already on the left. She said this is Ridgely, West Virginia, just outside of Cumberland. Started coming down around 8:40 this morning. She took this picture at about 9 o'clock. Definitely a little bit of a snow and sleet mix. On the right, she said this is her cat, Millie May. Looking at the snow, talking about what's going on here. Hasn't seen much of the snow before, so she is in for a pretty interesting day. Keep the pictures coming. We love to see this. It is so easy to share your photos and videos with us. Just open up the WSA9 app, tap on the Near Me button. It's on the bottom right. We also have a button at the top of our homepage where you can easily upload straight from your camera roll. You can also tag us on social media. All right, we'll be back later with another update on the forecast, streaming on WAC9 Plus. Thanks so much for watching and have a great day.